What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean P. the Blunt Guy. Hey! And today we are doing another Berserk chapter read through. Today we are reading chapter 31 chronologically. But for all you guys who's reading this through a book or something else other than these apps that I use, the title of today's chapter is Casca Chapter 1. Seem like we're gonna get some potential Casca backstory. I don't know. But before we get into it, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Follow me on Twitch. Make sure you follow me on Twitch if you want to engage with me in real time. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and make sure you join the Discord. That is the best place to engage with me at, and you can also send me content to react to. But yeah, so all right, so today we are doing chapter 31 chronologically, right? Like I'll read this through an app. The chapters are weird. You know, I always say this every stream, or I always say this every video, whatever. These chapters are a little weird, but because it kind of like restarts at one point. And I think in the app it's like chapter 17 or whatever. But chronologically, this is chapter 30. This is the 31st chapter of the whole series, right? And the title of this chapter is Casca Chapter 1. Last chapter, we got the Band of the Hawk. They just started a battle with these. I forget what the name of this group was, but they're like the armored well unit. I don't remember. You know, it was some long ass name that I couldn't remember, so I'm gonna just call them the armor well unit for now until I figure out till I remember what the real name was. But they were fighting the Band of the Hawk, and we see Casca. She was fighting what looks to be like one of the leaders or a commander of some sort, right? Like he looked like a high-ranking guy, and he was overwhelming Casca. Like he overwhelmed the hell out of Casca, and he almost killed her. He almost killed Casca, but Guts came in and made the save. So we're pretty much going to continue from that point. So let's get into the chapter. All right. So we got a cover page with Casca. She's taking off her armor, her like the upper portion of her armor. You can see a little side boob. You know, you can see a little side boob action right there. So, you know, getting a little nasty, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, and she's pretty much mostly naked. She's naked from the bottom down, you know, except the only thing she has on is that upper armor, and she's taking that off. So, is that hinting a little love making between her and Guts, or her and Griffith? I don't know. You know, another thing about the last chapter that we got was before the battle started, Casca, something was wrong. Something was up with Casca. Like she was grasping at her stomach, and she said, like, not at this moment. I personally think it has something to do with her potentially being pregnant. Like that's what I think. But it could be a sickness. I don't know. Like, you know, I don't know yet. Hopefully we find that out soon. Maybe this chapter, you know, one of these next upcoming chapters, since we're getting a lot about her, you know, like the title of this chapter is Casca Chapter 1. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be at least another chapter of the Casca series. So maybe we learn what's going on with Casca. I think it's a pregnancy thing. But yeah, we got that commander. I guess Guts didn't fully kill him. I thought Guts might have killed him, but Guts didn't kill him. And it's Guts facing off against this guy while he's protecting Casca. Casca's there looking, her legs are looking a little weak, Maybe it's the pregnancy, maybe it's just the fact that she got beat up, or a combination of both, right? Because that guy was beating her up pretty bad. So, but yeah, and then we got some other guys fighting in the background. So we see Casca looking at Guts, and Guts is just focused on the battle in front of him. Like, he's not looking back or anything. He just focused on the battle in front of him. Casca is looking at him while she's like sweating. It looked like she's sweating. The captain of the armored whale squadron, or whatever they call, he grasps his trident and as like in a attack pattern or whatever. Like, he's ready to attack, and he screams and he says, "How now, boy? You stopped my attack well, but lightning doesn't strike twice." And you see his eyes, and they're like, you see like the red in his eyes, like the cracking red in his eyes. And then he starts spinning his trident with one arm or one hand. And he says, "Can you stop this? The ultimate spear technique, which can crush even a marble. Pass secretly down through my Cabralwitz family for 140 years." Bruh, this guy don't know Guts, man. Guts ain't Casca. Guts ain't Casca. The man he fought Zod, and I know this man is no Zod, so I'm just saying, bro, chill, humble yourself, or I'm pretty sure he's about to be humbled. Guts is going to have to humble this man. He says, "Take this, Ganzan Senpu, and it says this translates as rock cutting whirlwind. And before he can even attack, you see Guts' sword striking down at him, and his eyes are wide. He's like, "Oh, this guy's serious." And then it looks like Guts cuts through the spear and cuts through this commander's helmet as well. Like, he like the sword is like right there. At least that's what it looked like. I could be wrong. Maybe he didn't cut the helmet, but it looked like he's slicing through the helmet. We see the armored whale commander. He's like falling back, him and his horse. And yeah, Guts definitely did crack him in his skull. He definitely did crack him in his skull. I definitely was right. He caught him right in the middle of the head, cracking this man's skull. And he's like, "Pwah, oh." And then the man's still alive, though. Hey, the man's still alive. He says, "Ganjan." So you see like his helmet's all messed up, split open. His mouth is messed up. He bleeding from his head. And then Guts goes in for another strike, and he strikes him right like in the neck region, or no, not the neck. It's like right in the face, but like right above the neck looks like. And all you see is this man's face just like get sent back, and it's just like his mouth and everything is just all discombobulated and things. And Guts is followed through with his sword swing. Damn, Guts threw him off the horse. God damn, the man is like he fell back off the horse. God damn. And he says, "Bugo, oh." I guess he's trying to talk, but his like mouth is messed up. His jaw and his mouth is just I'm pretty sure his jaw is dislocated. His mouth is just ripped open. Dang, bro, gut. He crying. This man's crying. Hey, bro, that's why you don't mess with the man Guts, bro. You don't mess with that man. And then Guts says, Ganzan Simpu. So what? And then we see the Band of the Hawk. They said, awesome. He took that monster down with just 2 swings. That's our captain. Watch him go. Kind of like Corcus, but I think, is that Corcus or is that one guy who looked like Corcus that is part of Guts' squad? I'm not too sure. They look similar and he has a helmet on, so it's hard to tell. But I definitely think one of the men is Judo as well. So I think that might be Corcus, honestly. The man is still alive though, you know? I mean, he's on the ground right now, like holding his face, but he still is alive. So dude's tough, bro. The dude is tough. If he ain't dead from that, pretty tough. Cause Guts got him like right there and followed through with the swing as well, and the guy is still alive. Gus says, what's wrong? This isn't how you usually are. You're fighting horrible. You'll wind up dead if you're out of it. So that's Guts talking to Casca. We see Casca. She just looks bad. Like she's just out of it, you know. She looks tired and just like no energy. And like Guts is like wondering what's going on, and then it looks like she falls back. Like she just like her eye, like she closes her eyes and she just falls back and passes out. And then Guts says, hey. And then we see that well commander who's still alive. I don't know why Guts didn't finish this man off, bro. You gotta finish this man off because he's still alive. And he grabs his crossbow and he's aiming. You know, he's aiming at it, or he's aiming at somebody. I don't know if he's going. I'm pretty sure he's going to aim at Guts while Guts is off guard. Because it'd be useless to aim at Casca if she's already pretty much out of it. You kill Guts first and then you go for Casca next. So Casca is falling backwards. She drops her sword and everything. And Guts is reaching out to catch her. And the armored well commander, he shoots his crossbow. And it's headed right at Guts. And Guts manages to grab Casca before she could fall over. So Casca was about to fall off the edge of a cliff, right? Like Casca was falling over the edge of the cliff and Guts grabs her, but Guts is like hit right in the stomach by that arrow that well commander shot. And Casca loses her footing and Guts falls over while he's grabbing on the Casca, and they both fall down this cliff. And they say, Captain, or no, Guts says, oh hell. And then we see the Band of the Hawk and they say, Captain, Guts. And we see that well commander captain, his face is all just messed up on the right side, but he successfully shot Guts though. He successfully shot Guts, and Guts and Casca are both falling off this cliff. I didn't even realize they were so close to a cliff. Like, why are they fighting next to a cliff? It's wild. That's wild. So we see one of the Band of the Hawk at the edge of the cliff, and they say, Captain, Guts, Casca. And then we see it looks like there's a river or like a body of water at the bottom of this cliff. And Guts has Casca in his arms, you know, to kind of to protect her and keep hold of her. And he says, "Huh?" And then they fall right into this river, which, yeah, you know, it could have ended up so much worse if they fell on like the ground. Could have ended pretty bad. Could have ended pretty bad, but they were saved because they fall into a river, and the Band of the Hawk are all looking down at this at Casca and Guts, and Judo is thinking, Guts, Casca. Okay, so we see the silhouette of a bunch of a bunch of men on horses. I guess this is during this whole battle, right? I'm assuming this is the ongoing battle, and it looks like it's starting to rain. Yeah, I think it's starting to rain right now. Starting to rain, and we're at this river, and we see a hand grabbing onto what looks to be a rock. And then Guts, so as Guts' hand, because Guts pulls himself and Casca outside of this river, and Guts is like spitting out water. And he pulls himself up to the shore, and you know, he's like laying down, like he's pretty much laying down at the foot of this shore with him and Casca. Their bodies still, the bottom half of their bodies are still in the water. So what I'm getting is about to happen. It's kind of like what I've been saying for a while, right? With the whole Guts and Casca. I just feel as though the tension between them two have been around for a while, right? So I'm thinking this is going to be when Guts and Casca kind of gets a little closer, right? Like Guts is going to have to take care of Casca. Guts is probably going to be hurt because he got that arrow in his the side of his stomach, his abdomen. And so him and Casca, you know, maybe Guts figures out what's wrong with Casca, and then they kind of connect and get a little closer. I knew it was just a matter of time until we see a moment where it's just Casca and Guts trying to survive or something, and it brings them closer, and then we got like a whole Guts and Casca fling. Man, I knew it. I knew it. So we see Guts. He lifts up his visor, his helmet visor, and he's like coughing out water, and he says, "I'm never doing that again. Swimming with my armor on." And Casca is out of it. Casca is passed out, and Guts is over Casca, and he's taking his helmet off, and he puts his ear to her mouth to make sure she's still breathing, and he says, "Uh-oh." And so he's over Casca, and he opens her mouth, and he like, I guess he's starting to administer, was it CPR? Yeah, CPR. Cause he like puts his mouth on her mouth, and we see his armor off, his helmet's to the left of him, his upper armor is to the right of him, and he's blowing into her mouth. We see him blowing into her mouth, and then pretty much administering CPR. He's doing the chest compressions, or it look like he's pushing down on her stomach, not her chest. But he's doing compressions, stomach compressions, I guess we could say. And I think she's coughing up water. You know, we see Casca sweating. So yeah, I think he managed to save her, right? Because he gets up, and now he has to focus on this arrow in his abdomen, you know, because he like grimace, like I don't really know the word for it, but he like winces, you know, like in pain, and he grabs the arrow, and he's working on pulling it out at the moment. So yeah, we see Guts throw away the arrow into the river, and he says, "Damn it, that well bastard. he's fish bait next time I see him. And then he's thinking, still, we're lucky to be alive falling from up there. Hard to believe. What? Or what now? Ain't no way we can scale that cliff. How can we get back? And he said, woo, scold. So he's like shivering at the moment. So he looks at Casca, who's still out of it, and he's thinking to himself, high fever. This is bad. If she stays in the rain like this, must be why she fainted. So he says high fever must be why she fainted. Then he says, this is bad if she stays in the rain like this. And then he looks over to the right and he sees like a little cave. He sees like a little cave through like the tree line. So this kind of remind me, I don't think this is the same cave that we seen in one of the previous cover pages, because that looked more like a tree. It looked like they was under a tree, a cave made from like the roots of a tree. This looked like an actual cave, like with from like boulders and stuff. At least from this distance, you know, because we get closer, it might actually be a tree, but I'm not too sure. All right, so we cut back to the band of the Hawk, and we see Griffith. And he says Guts and Casca, and then one of the guys reporting to Griffith, they say it was quite a high cliff, but there was a river beneath so surely. And then Judo says, this is him we're talking about. I don't think it's anything life-threatening at least, but whether he lands safely or not from that height, and then one of the other ones say he'd been wounded and something was wrong with Casca. If we send out a search party, we should hurry. And then one of the guys behind Griffith says, Sir, Griffith, you do understand. Understand what? I'm curious. Like, they don't have enough men to spare on Casca and Guts? Is that what this guy's about to try to say, I guess? I don't know. You know, you Guts and Casca are probably Griffith's two most important assets, not aspects, assets. So you might want to spare somebody. That's all I'm saying. You might want to spare somebody to go get them, you know. I think that would be best for business. This guy says, who is this guy? Who is this guy anyway, man? Some unknown guy talking, getting some lines, just getting some dialogue. He says, in war, conquering the enemy is most important. To spare valuable troops from those granted by the king to confirm the life or death of at best a mere unit commander now would be outrageous. Bro, you shut your whore mouth. And then I think Corcus is speaking. He says, furthermore, he brought this upon himself by engaging in personal combat. No, that wasn't. And then Judo grabs Casca or Corcus. Judo grabs Corcus' shoulder and he says no. Well, he doesn't say it, but he just shakes his head no. And that other guy that was talking, he says, besides, the band of the Hawk's highly touted raiders, captain and female commander are together, are they not? I mean, that is kind of a good point. You know, like if anybody could survive this, it would be Guts. You know, and Casca is the commander, but they also don't realize Casca's condition either. So that is going to hold Guts back a lot, you know, and Guts isn't a medic. So, you know, he might be limited on how much he can treat Casca in with a fever in this rain. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could be pretty dangerous right there, especially for Casca. That could be pretty dangerous. She needs some type of medical attention. She needs to be in like a warm environment, you know, get some dry clothes, be near a fire, like, especially with a fever, you know. And Guts don't have no dry clothes on him right now. You know, I don't know if Guts knows how to do a fire. He might know how to do that. Like, if he could start a fire, he could probably help Casca to some degree, you know. But how do you start a fire, right? Like, if they go inside the cave and start a fire, it's going to, like, the smoke of the fire is going to smoke out the cave, and you can't do it outside because it's raining at the moment. I mean, it's not looking too good right now. It's not looking too good. But the guy continues. He says, they ought to be able to surmount such a dilemma with ease. And then one of the other guys says, certainly. Maybe this other guy, because I've never seen him before, maybe he's like a part of the kingdom. Like, maybe he's not one of the Band of the Seven or Band of the Hawk. And he's like one of the soldiers from the kingdom. I don't know. And he says, if they're alive, and we see Casca clenching his hand, and it's like pouring, and then Griffith looks with like the rain rolling down his face. Okay, so we see Guts. He took all his armor off. His sword is right behind him. And we see Casca. She has all her armor off as well, but she has like a kind of like a robe on, you know, like, I don't know if that's like Guts's shirt that Guts put over Casca, or if Casca was already wearing that, you know. But I'm sure it's wet either way, so it really, I mean, ain't much you could do about it, right? But Guts is also like bandaging himself up from that arrow, like bandaging his abdomen area up, and Casca is still out of it. So okay, maybe this fever is just her being sick. Maybe it's not pregnancy. I still think it could be a pregnancy. But to be fair, now that we know she has a fever, maybe she's just sick, you know. But I think if like pregnant women, I think they could get fevers as well. So, you know, we just know she has a fever. That's why she wasn't feeling good. And her having a fever could be just being sick, or it could be from pregnancy. We don't. I don't know. I don't know. Gut says now what to do, and he says some of the enemy saw us fall. If I kindle a fire, it'd be like telling them where we are. Good point. Good point. You know, if he does start a fire, he'd be giving away his position. But you know, because I was thinking it from a standpoint like, where's he going to light the fire? You light it in the cave, that smoke has to go somewhere, right? So you're in this enclosed environment. Like, that's why people have fireplaces, but the fireplace is also connected to the chimney, so the smoke just goes out the chimney. Because if you close the fireplace, the fireplace will smoke out your house, you know? So if he's in this little cave and he starts a fire, I mean, I guess if he puts it at the exit, I'm sure that it will just go to the exit. Like, the smoke will go straight out of the cave, but it could smoke the cave out. But if he puts it outside where it's raining, he won't be able to light it. But he made a good point as well, that if he starts a fire, it will give away their position, you know, to the enemy potentially. But it can also give away their position to their allies as well, you know. Because the enemy might believe that they were killed, but the Band of the Hawk might actually go looking for them. And with a fire, it will let them know. Double-edged sword. Double-edged sword. Guts also thinks, and Casca can't leave here for a while yet. And then he looks down at Casca. That face he makes, and he's like, that's the face Gus is doing. Gus says, "Da, can't help it. There's just no other way." Oh, so I see why he was looking at Casca like that. Yeah, I see why he was looking at Casca. Because now we see Guts undressing Casca. And he says, "Oh, well, that's the way it is. Besides, it's not exactly the first time with her. What a pain." You know what? I just realized this is a little reminiscent to when Guts was dying, right? When Guts was or not dying, but when he was injured from fighting Griffith, because Griffith like stabbed him. Casca was there to keep Guts warm. You know, she was like cuddling with Guts while he was asleep to keep him warm, and that's when he was dreaming and stuff about Casca like cuddling with him. He had like this long dream, and then the end of the dream was Casca cuddling with him. So it's kind of reminiscent of that, you know, except this time Guts is the one saving Casca or helping Casca. So yeah, Guts says, "Oh well, that's the way it is. Besides, it's not exactly the first time with her. What a pain." And Guts is taking off her shirt, and we see the breasticles. We see the breasticles. We see Casca's breasticles, and Guts is still thinking, "What the hell she thinking anyway? Just don't wake up. Going into battle with a fever. This why women don't have any sense." Now we see Guts taking off the pants. We see Guts taking off Casca's pants. And then Guts has like this shocked look on his face. And he brings up his hand, and it's like blood on his pointer and index, or his pointer and middle finger. There's blood. Guts puts his hand on Casca's shoulder, and he says, "Blood. Did the idiot get wounded?" And then he looks down. Bro, this is some X-rated stuff that seemed like it's about to happen. Some X-rated stuff seemed like it's about to go down. Guts looks down, and we just see Casca's like naked body. She's like I don't know if that's just her being wet or if it's like she just sweating real bad. But Guts looks and he says, "So that's it." And then he puts his hand on Casca's head, and he's thinking, "Must be rough being a woman." So hold on, what do you mean that's it? Is it like, did he figure out where the blood was coming from? And or did he figure out what is going on with Casca? Like, did he figure out that she was pregnant? I'm curious. Like, what did Guts? Because we just see he said that's it, and then he puts his hand on her head, and then it cuts to the sky while it's raining. We see Casca passed out, but like Guts has Casca like in his arms, like he's holding Casca, and he has his sword in the other hand. And it's kind of reminiscent to an earlier cover page that I've seen earlier when which kind of, I think that might be where the whole Casca and Guts thing sparked for me. I think it was a little earlier, but I think when I seen that cover page, it kind of confirmed it for me. But yeah, it was like an earlier cover page. And we see like Guts holding Casca. So this was the same cover page. I thought it was a tree, but maybe it wasn't. I don't remember. It happened it happened a while ago, so it's hard to put, it's hard to be sure if it was a tree root or what. But yeah. And it says Casca chapter 1 end. Okay, so pretty much the beginning chapter started with the fight with Guts protecting Casca from this armored well unit commander, right? Like Guts pretty much sliced his face, broke his jaw, messed up his mouth, but he didn't kill him. He didn't kill him. The guy was still alive. And then before Guts could continue fighting and finish this guy off, Guts noticed Casca was like starting to get wobbly, and she faints and she falls like she's right at the edge of a cliff, which I don't know why Casca was just standing at the edge of a cliff. Like I do remember the well commander was he pushed her back to the edge till he cornered her, right? And that's when Guts saves her. So they were at the edge of a cliff, remembering, but I wonder why she didn't like get away from the edge while Guts was busy fighting this guy. So Guts, while she faints and falls towards the edge of this cliff, Guts grabs her, and as he was grabbing her, that well commander, he wasn't out of the game yet. He grabs the crossbow and then he shoots Guts. And as Guts gets shot, it ended up making him fall off this cliff with Casca. Because Guts wanted to make sure she didn't fall off, but they both end up falling off. They fall into the river at the bottom of this cliff, and Guts pretty much, he struggles, but he eventually gets both him and Casca out of this river, and he pulls her off, gives her CPR, and then he takes her to this little cave off in the distance that we see, and just to get her in a dry environment, because he notices that Casca has a fever. So he gets her to the cave, bandages himself up, right? He bandages himself up, and then he figures like, look, I'm gonna have to take her clothes off to get her out of these wet clothes, so this fever doesn't get bad, being in the wet clothes. And he takes off the clothes. We see Casca in her birthday suit pretty much, and Guts is like, hey, where did this blood come from? Did she get injured? Did Casca get injured? And then he looks and they said, I guess he figures out what was going on with her, because he says, must be rough to be a woman. We don't really get a full explanation of what he meant by that, because we don't see like where this blood came from, but we can only assume, right? We can only assume. And I wonder if he deduced what was wrong with her, because he notices where the blood came from, but he never says what was wrong with her. So we end this chapter with Guts having Casca in his like pretty much cuddling with Casca to keep her warm, like while like Casca is naked, of course. And that's how and they're in this cave, kind of reminiscent to an earlier cover page that we got, and that is the chapter. So yeah, we got the fight with Guts. Something's going on with Casca. We don't know. I personally think Casca might be pregnant, but she could just be sick. I don't know. We have to wait to see what's going on, like what exactly is wrong with her. Like maybe we just learned that, she could be on her period too, right? Like that is another option as well. She could be on her period. I don't know, I don't know. She could be, I'm thinking either her being on her period or her being pregnant, right? Like those are the two things I'm thinking. The third option is she could just be sick. You know, that's the third option. I think this is going to be the beginning of Casca and Guts actually getting along, possibly, right? Maybe even more. You know, maybe I could see Casca eventually waking up and being thankful to Guts, and they actually learn more about each other's past, which makes them get closer, right? They grow closer to each other, and then maybe something sparks out of that, right? I kind of think Casca already had a thing for Griffith, and that's why she's always jealous when Griffith is talking to or showing favoritism to Guts, and then when Griffith is talking to this princess, like that's part of the reason why I think she's pregnant. I think she might be pregnant with Griffith's child, right? But I don't know. Something we'll be learning hopefully in the next chapter or one of the next upcoming chapters. I don't know. But that is the chapter, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on the chapter, your thoughts on my read through, your thoughts on Berserk in general. Just avoid commenting any spoilers, right? Don't give me any spoilers. I would appreciate that. Follow me on Twitch so you can catch me live and you can engage with me in real time. Also, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And make sure you join the Discord, especially if you want to. That's where I usually engage the most. So that's the best place to engage with me. If you want to connect with me, if you want to send me stuff to react to, make sure you join the Discord. All of these will be in the description box down below. But anyway, y'all, it's your boy Sean P, the Bluff Guide, and I'm out of here. Peace.